We're back with Paul Heh. He's the candidate for mayor this fall, and we're talking to him about the variety of issues there. Before we went for break, I know we discussed a little bit about the public safety issue. Why do you? And I know there was a few. You have been with APD for many years. You know the department really well, and I think you people like to know what your opinion on there is. Because of a few bad apples, so if I may say that, the department took a lot of heat there, and I know it ultimately comes down to the mayor. What do you feel you would bring as mayor to clear that image up there?
Well, I was there for nearly 25 years. I know who needs to go and who needs to stay, and if you haven't been part of the solution, you've been part of the problem.
The chief is retiring, so he's
well, he's supposed to be retiring. We don't know. He hasn't done it yet. We hear July, then again you hear in December. He's sticking around to see if Mayor Berry gets elected again, and if he gets elected again, he'll stay on. Therein lies the problem, is the chief of police. The Albuquerque Police Department was rated by the FBI among the top 10 police departments in the United States. This mayor has allowed this chief to stay after this mayor promised during his campaign to numerous officers that he would replace the chief. That's how he got the police. That's how he got the police vote. The ink wasn't even dry on the ballots yet, and he reappointed him. Okay, so you reappointed him. Now all these problems come in. You let him stay there for 4 years and drag this department down to being faced with a takeover by the Justice Department? I think Mayor Berry needs to answer to that. Why did he allow this chief to stay? It's not the officer's fault. It's a lack of leadership. A leader is a person, when things go bad, stands up and says, yeah, we made a mistake. This is what we're going to do to fix it. I'm responsible. I'm in charge. When things go good, you give the credit to the people that work for you. That's what a leader does. This chief has never taken any responsibility for anything.
Do you know the chief really well?
I know him. I've worked for him for many, many years.
Do you think that he was complacent in some way as far as, I mean, the leadership goes, or does it fall on someone else? Because he took the ultimate blame for it. I know.
He is the leader.
He is the one that's totally responsible.
He is the leader.
Okay.
All right. He always plays to the media, whether officers are right or wrong, whatever he thinks the public wants to hear, that's what he says. That's not what a leader does. When you're wrong, you stand up and say, we made a mistake, we were wrong. And you face the consequences. But when your officers are right, then you say, we are right, and this is the reason that we are right. Because the public doesn't understand police work. And some things that may look bad are 100% righteous. But you need a leader to be able to explain that to the public. This is what we are right, why we are right. We had a police chief years ago, Bob Stover, and he did exactly what I was saying. One time we shot an individual, came out of a house with an Uzi. Not me personally, but officers. That Uzi turned out to be plastic. We were getting tore up in the media over it because it was a plastic gun.
Because usually there's an indication there of...
No, the chief brought the media in, he put the real one on the table, put the plastic one on the table and says, without touching them, tell me which is the real one. They couldn't do it. And the chief said at that time, bottom line is you point a weapon at my officers, you're going to get shot. Guns that come in all different colors now. There's blue guns, there's pink guns, there's bright green guns. You can't even tell if it's real or not. If it looks like a gun, you've got to put it in your head, it is a gun.
Do you think he could have identified, do you think he knew what was going on the subordinate levels? Do you like I said, I didn't mean to use the word complacent, but it's a pretty harsh word there. But was there like, was he misguided in some way, you feel, by his subordinates where he wasn't aware of what was going on?
I think he's surrounded by yes men.
So he wasn't completely informed of what they were doing at that.
But he should be informed. I think a chief of police should take one day a week and go out and ride with his officers, go out and work on the streets with his officers, to stay in touch with his officers, to see what his officers are doing, to know what his officers are doing, to see what problems the officers are facing. So, you know, I mean, there are some bad officers, and I know who they are, and they're very, very, very few, and they'll be dealt with. But the
So-
top administration needs to be dealt with and immediately.
What, now, as mayor, what would you do? Would you bring a chief from outside the state?
No,
Would you-
absolutely not. There we are again.
Okay,
We
so-
bring somebody from outside. Why? Because we're too stupid to take care of our own problems in New Mexico?
Yeah, there was some that were suggesting that if you bring someone from outside, they wouldn't have anything to do with the local department, and they would bring a different set of ideas and clear the image that was created by
What
this
do
particular-
they know about the culture and diversity in Albuquerque, New Mexico? They don't. What do they know about the Northeast as compared to the Valley, as compared to the Southeast, as compared to the Northwest? All Albuquerque citizens, but all different in some ways. What do they know about that? They don't. And to me, to bring somebody from the outside is trying to saying that we are too ignorant, we are too stupid to
So we can
solve
figure
our
out our
problems.
own issues there.
Let's
you're-
figure out our
you're-
own
okay.
issues, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and many agree with that premise that you can't bring people from outside because they don't know the culture.
You
here.
have to install a chief that will have the respect of the officers and respect the officers. Not that the chief's going to be their friend, but mutual respect. That chief has to have the ability to lead those officers to regaining the respect and the trust of the community, because the officers are the only ones that can do it. When I was a sergeant, the people that worked for me, I always instilled in them, that badge does not belong to you. That badge belongs to the citizens of this community that allows you to wear it, and never forget that. And they never did, and I never had any problems with my officers. With everything going on, I never had any problems with my officers.
Do you think that it was given a little bit more exposure because of the lapel pins and such? Because there was, at one time, we didn't know what was happening. No one knew. I mean, do you think it was because of that? The coverage was a lot higher than the actual problems there?
You know, the lapel cameras only capture so much. As mayor,
Because everyone has a camera. They have a camera.
everyone has a camera, but we are losing case after case after case after case in court because of those cameras.
Correct.
The sheriff's department tried them, and they discovered they were losing cases, and they got rid of them. Not because the officers had done something wrong, but because, for instance, on a DWI stop, all right, the officer has to think of his or her safety, all right, not whether the camera's pointing in the right direction or not. And some of the judges say, well, I can't see their feet, or I couldn't see that step, or I couldn't see that step, so I'm dismissing the case.
Hold that thought for a second. Okay, take a short break. We'll come back. And then we'll continue right where we left it. We'll take a short break. We'll be back with Paul Heh, candidate for mayor.